Good morning, here is Kramer's Corner with the daily technical updates. We had a nice day in the US market last night where S&P 500 bounced off just above 42.12, and I have adjusted my support a little bit, so it seems like we have some support here around here at the 38.2 retracement at 42.21. So a little bit of a bounce. We still have bearish sentiment, but we could bounce a little bit further here next couple of days, but the trend is down. Same picture on, almost same picture on Nasdaq 100 that has been performing better than the S&P 500 lately. Strong bounce led by Tesla that was up 6% last night. I don't know what kind of news that came out of these guys, but very strong move. Excuse me. But we are still below this gap area here that should be observed if we close above it, and it should close above the 14,970. Then we are in a neutral position. We will still be below the cloud, and we will also likely be in bearish sentiment or negative sentiment on the RSI. On the European markets, we have DAX that almost touched the 14,933 support, just a couple of euros from that in a nice bounce there, and we could see a little bit of a bounce in the next couple of days towards 15,250, maybe a little bit higher, but we are in a downtrend also on the weekly chart with potential down to around the mid 14,100 there. AX bounced from it dipped just below, actually it opened below 716 support, expect a bounce up towards 730, but to get any kind of upside traction, it needs to take out the peak here at 736. That could give us a little sweet rally towards 750, but we are in a downtrend on just short and medium term. The Belgian market dancing around the previous lows here around 34.64 level. I think we could also see a little bit of a correction up here to around the 3,500, possibly a little bit higher, but I don't think we will take out these peaks here. And at least that's what is needed to get back up to previous levels. But as you can see here on the weekly, we are still in a downtrend. CAC 40 that took out the support here at 7,052, bouncing a little bit yesterday towards the end of the session, and following a little bit through today, but we are also in a downtrend there after breaking the lower rising trend line. Euro dollar still a bit depressed, but maybe that was it, at least for now. I do believe we will see a correction higher towards the 106 level, 106.15.20, and testing of this upper falling trend line here in coming days. With the divergence and with the RSI moving above its falling trend line here, I think we will see a correction, but again, it will just be a correction. It could be a correction that if taking out these levels here around 106.35, paved the way up to 38.2 retracement at 107.60 level, but I'm not 100% confident about that, but it could be seen. It was a really long downtrend there. Cable. Also, almost the identical picture, or almost similar picture to euro dollar, with some strong support around these 120 here, and the bounce yesterday could give bulls a little bit of a hope. If we break above 121.75 and the upper falling trend line here, well, then it could give us a little bit of a relief rally up to around 123 level short term, but we are in a downtrend also in the medium term there. Dollar yen sliding unusually behavior out of this wedge-like pattern here. What we will see is that it has to take out these spike down here and support at 147.30 before we see a larger correction. For now, it's still holding on, and medium term, it is still in an uptrend with no divergence on the RSI, meaning we could see a test of previous peak around 152, but it is stalling quite a bit. If it moves back into and above the lower rising trend line here, we can remove that pattern, because then it's been demolished. But for now, it seems like it is in a correction phase, and we could see a correction. Euro yen trying to get back above 156.60. If it does, and it is not unlikely, as we are above the 100 moving average, we are still in the cloud. We haven't broken below, or we haven't closed below. We actually dipped below the other day. Then we could see it moving back towards the 157.5 and so on. But we are still caught in this range here, and I think we'll be caught in this range here for quite some. Aussie yen, back in this range between 93.5 and 95.85. Apparently this was just a false spike out and a false spike below, and we could be caught in this range here, also similar to Euro yen, where it's just trading sideways. So I will keep an eye on these levels again for potential breakout direction. For now, I will stay a little bit on the sideline on that one. The sterling yen is in a downtrend. It's not the most, how can you say, convincing one, but it's still, we are in a downtrend. But there's some strong interest around 180 here, and as we can see, we actually dipped down to the 78 retracement level. And let's zoom in a little bit so we can better see it. Let me do this. There we go. So that's where we are at the moment, trying to get back above the 100 moving average, but I don't think it will be successful. We are in a negative sentiment, so it looks fairly heavy. And we're going to have a look at dollar Canada. Dollar Canada, and the bigger picture here is quite interesting. It's breaking above its upper falling trend line in this wide channel-like pattern here. And I think we will see a move towards 140 again in coming weeks. As you can see here on the daily one, strong upwards move, and we can add a little bit of a projection, Fibonacci projection to it, and then see, okay, where are we? Well, actually, 200% of that correction there, that is at 140. So quite interesting move there on dollar Canada. Aussie dollar still depressed, and I think we'll see it down towards the 61.85 fairly shortly. We have the dollar index still holding on, but as we have talked about yesterday, there's divergence on the RSI. You can see the peak values here are declining, so we should see a correction, but I wouldn't call it 100% until we actually see a break below this rising trend line here, because medium term we are in a low trend towards 107.90. On the gold spots, seems to be weakening the downside here, the downtrend here, just above 1800, and I think, I mean, we could still see 1800 being tested, but I think the sell-off is done by now, the majority of it, and going into next week, possibly towards the end of this week, going into next week, I think we will see a bounce towards the 1850, 1870, maybe a little bit higher. But if we do close below 1800, if we see a daily close below 1800, well, then we have a completely different situation. But here on the weekly, we have the 200 moving average coming up, but still we can break below it, as we have seen previously, but it seems very overdone. But it's not unlikely that we dip down to 1791, which is the 618 retracement of all this uptrend here. But it seems a little bit overdone, at least short term. But keep an eye on it. 1800 is really something that needs to be observed. Silver below 21 and a quarter, trying to get back up, and I think we will see a bit of a correction towards the 22.15 level, but we are in a downtrend also on the weekly chart, where we can see it's below the cloud, below this key support at 22.15, and below the rising trend line here. So, but a correction after this massive sell-off should be expected. Copper, key support 354.5, almost touched it yesterday. Could have another try here today on the next couple of days. You can see here on the weekly why it is so important, this level here. If we close below, if copper is closing below, well, then there's a downside potential to these levels here, not seen since Q3 last year, around 320s level. Oil market was really on fire yesterday, for at least for the sell side that really took control, pushing the WTI below the 820 support down to the 61.8 retracement of this leg up here, but also right there. Let's move it a little bit so we can better see it. There we have, that's 38 true retracement of the entire uptrend, and support just around 83.60 around that level, and the 55 moving average coming up. We still have the RSI above 40, so this is a very strong support area that should be observed. If WTI is moving below, and especially closing below this support line here at 83.58, then we could see another move down to the 786 retracement, or half of the entire uptrend. But I think over the next couple of days, I think we will stabilize WTI here, and then slowly moving higher and resuming uptrend. On the Brent, almost touching the 78.6 retracement here. Below the 55, we're also in a bearish or negative sentiment because we are below 40, but still I think we will see a consolidation, and then we will try to move back to the 88.20 level. On the finally on the yields, that really moved high yesterday, only to be sold off, and I think we could see a correction down to around the 450, 455 level here in coming days, but the trend is up, and we are looking at higher levels, possibly above 5%. That's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Happy trading.